Everyone has little routines that they do every day. Get up, you brush your teeth, you make your bed, you have your coffee or your favorite drink. Maybe you take a run to Starbucks, daily prayers, things like that. But few people have daily habits that actually create transformations in their lives. Things like building their confidence or their self-trust, which is exactly what we talk about on this channel. No one wakes up and thinks, how can I be more confident today? Okay, like maybe you do, but that might just be kind of weird. And honestly, it's really not even the question that we're trying to answer. Hey, I'm Ashley. I'm a recovering pessimist, and I am on my own journey to self-worth and self-discovery and teaching you all of the stuff that I'm learning along the way so that you can live your life without hiding your true self. Today, we're going to dive into 3 daily habits that you can use to help strengthen that confidence muscle. And they aren't what you might think. I know you're probably used to the advice like, oh, wake up in the morning and say your daily affirmations, which are actually really good. And I highly recommend that. Tell yourself you're a badass. And while those definitely have their place, and I do love them, we're going to talk about some habits that you might not think about, and they're a little more actionable to rewire how you think about what you're capable of. And they're going to start to build self-trust and worthiness, which in turn build confidence. Because this is what's actually going to create lasting change and not feel like a chore. I know when some people say habits, they think about like a checklist of how much water intake or how many days a week you've worked out this week. But that's not really what we're going to be talking about today. Finding ways to incorporate confidence building habits is so important. And it's important to do it in our daily lives. It's key to helping us switch from super insecure to, hey, I got this. And if you want even more habits to help you up-level your life, I've got a free guide for you to download. It's my 7-day glow up guide, and it is completely free. I'm going to link it below in the description. Okay, so habit number 1. You're going to keep one small promise to yourself. If you're like me, you know the drill. You're getting ready to go to bed and you're telling yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to work out, or I'm going to make breakfast instead of going out to eat, or I'm going to make my own coffee instead of going to Starbucks, or I'm going to meet up with that friend instead of going home and taking a nap. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, I'm too tired. I think I'll hit the snooze one more time. Oh, I don't really have time to do this. I'll just go out to eat. It's really not that big a deal. I'll try again tomorrow. We all do it. It's totally natural. But each time we do this, we're telling ourselves that we can't be trusted. I know it sounds super dramatic, but it's true because our brain is always looking for that evidence, right? So if we make ourselves a promise, we don't keep that promise in the morning, what are we teaching our brains about ourselves? It's just how our brains work. They need to be fed information over and over again that says, I hold myself accountable. So if you're waking up in the morning and going back on what you said you're going to do the night before, then your brain's telling itself, ooh, I can't be held accountable for anything. And that's the belief it's going to hold on to until you tell it otherwise. So if you keep doing this over and over again, you're just reinforcing that you can't be trusted. I like to think of it like a little toddler. So if the day before you tell a toddler, oh, we'll go to the playground tomorrow, don't worry about it. No, we're absolutely going to go. And they hold you to that. So if the next day you're like, oh, I don't really feel like going to the playground, they'll get upset. And also they learn that whatever you say is probably going to be a lie. They're probably not going to get to do that thing. So they stop believing it. Your brain does the exact same thing. So when you make a promise to yourself, no matter how small, see it through. Or don't make the promise at all. You start to rewire your brain to tell it that you are telling the truth and that what you say will actually happen. This is so important in building self-trust. And self-trust, like we know, is a huge builder of confidence. When you trust yourself, whether it's just you telling your friends that you're going to go hang out with them and you actually do, or if it's something bigger like deciding to take an internship or what college to go to, you know that you can trust that decision. You start to feel confident in your ability to make important decisions for yourself, and you don't get stuck doubting yourself or overthinking, oh, did I make the right choice? Do you see how these little everyday things can add up when it really counts? Habit number 2, speak to yourself like somebody that you admire. Imagine meeting somebody that you look up to and you've been waiting your whole life to meet them. And when you greet them, you say something like, oh, well, I thought you'd be prettier, or I thought you'd be taller, Or you look at him, you're like, oh, wow, your skin is really bad. You would never. But we talk to ourselves like this all the freaking time. Who doesn't look in the mirror and go, oh my God, you look like such a slob today. Oh, these bags under your eyes. Oh, your hair needs to be washed. It's so gross. Anytime you say those things, I want you to imagine that the person in the mirror is your best friend. Okay, maybe not your best friend, because I know that sometimes we can rag on each other, but is somebody that you really look up to. I am a huge offender in this department. And that constant barrage of talking down to ourselves, especially those little things in the moment, seem harmless, but they add up over time. And you're just training your brain to think those things about yourself and that they're true all the time. And that is killing your confidence. So you're telling yourself this stuff over and over again, and it may seem silly, but then when it comes to, presenting yourself in front of a crowd, or doing something that maybe you're a little scared of, your brain is going to tell yourself, oh, no, 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 remember, you're dumb. You can't do this. So start becoming aware of how you speak to yourself. Start becoming aware of how you speak to yourself and about yourself, because sometimes this can sneak up on us when we're talking to other people and we're like, oh, that wasn't a big deal, or oh, I was so stupid the other day and I made this mistake. Especially with compliments, a lot of times we deflect compliments from people because we think that it makes us humble, and if we take the compliment, that we're narcissists somehow. But self-love and narcissism are far apart. Accept the compliment. Even if you just say thank you, you're telling your brain that, hey, I deserved that. Instead of saying, they're probably lying. I look terrible today. I want you to think of it as almost being a little delusional. Even if you feel like you look like junkie, you're tired, you didn't sleep well last night, you got ready in a rush. If somebody tells you you look great, I want you to imagine it's reversed and you're telling that to a celebrity that you have been dying to meet. I want you to say, wow, thank you. I really appreciate that. It can be really difficult, especially for me, because I was the queen of self-deprecating humor. And while I don't want to say that it has its place, but there are some times that I still do it. And I try and catch myself or tell my brain, hey, that was just a joke. We're not going to take that seriously. Even now, when I say something to myself, if I make a mistake and I say, oh, Ashley, that was so dumb, I say, no, that was just a mistake. You're a human. It's no reflection on yourself. It sounds so small and insignificant, but it has made all the difference in how I view myself, especially when it comes to bigger opportunities and what I allow into my world and the places that I put myself in. I feel like I deserve to be in these spaces that I want to be in. And it also allows me to go after opportunities and projects that make me a little scared, but they also make me excited at the same time, because I'm telling myself that no, I can do this. Try to catch yourself next time you hear that voice in the back of your head, or you hear yourself start to go into that negative view, and turn it into something positive. Even if you have to literally stop yourself and say, no, this is not helpful to me. I do it all the time. You don't have to tell anybody you're doing it. You just do it internally and see if it makes a difference for you. And habit number 3, do one thing that scares you. And everybody kind of like freaks out about this when they hear this. And when I say scares you, I don't mean like terrifies you, like you have to jump off a bridge or go skydiving. Those are things that I would never ever do. But if you do one small thing every day that scares you just a little bit, watch at the different risks that you'll start to take that are helpful in getting you to where you want to be. Fear is the ultimate dream killer. What's that saying? Fear has killed more dreams than Fear has killed more dreams than failure ever has. It's this roadblock that keeps us stuck in the same. And that's why people end up in the same place 5 years later. Even though they had these huge dreams, they're like, what happened? And it's because your fear has kept you in your comfort zone and you can't move out of it. I had to learn the hard way to move through fear, because it was dominating my life. It was dominating all of the decisions I made, because I was scared of being seen. I was scared of failure. And What's really funny about that is I've still failed 100 times, but look at me, I'm still here. I'm making this video for you because it's the only way you're going to move on to your next level. And your next level is the key to moving towards the things that you want. I think to myself now, it's scary to grow and it's scary to do these things. But what's even scarier is being in the same place and still having all of these dreams 5 years from now, because I was too scared to even make the first move. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out every single day and like go dance naked in public or some shit. What I'm saying is do that one thing that you may otherwise not have done. So, and make sure it's something that you wouldn't normally do. So for me, I love to talk to people. So out in public, if I were to make conversation or, talk to the barista or whatever, that's not a big deal for me, but it can be for some people, just starting up a conversation, or if somebody drops something and you're really shy, normally you're like, oh, I hope they see that they dropped that. No, be like, here, this is yours. Oh, and by the way, I love that coat. Something that stretches you just a little bit. You can post a photo or a video on Instagram. Let's say you're wanting to start to become an influencer, or I don't even like that word influencer, but like a thought leader, or you're wanting to start a movement, and the first thing for you to do is post a video. If you're like me, that friggin' terrifies you. Even though I loved acting and I always liked being funny and the center of attention, the thought of sitting here talking to this camera when there really isn't even an audience was really, really hard for me. Some of you are really shy and don't like to ask questions in class because you don't want to feel dumb. So maybe when the teacher asks a question, you know the answer, actually raise your hand. Or if you have a legitimate question, instead of keeping that to yourself because you don't want to sound dumb in front of people, raise your hand anyway and be like, I don't really care what these people think. I have a question I need to know the answer to. Maybe there's a cute guy that you've been wanting to talk to. I know this one is super scary. I've been with my husband since high school, so I've never really had to worry about dating. But even just starting the conversation or just saying hi in the hall or something can be an amazing first move. Speaking up for yourself is also a really big one. I've noticed with my own kids and with some of my photography clients that it's really hard for this generation to speak up for themselves as far as, when something's wrong, if the order is wrong or something doesn't taste right at a restaurant, they'll just deal with it. And it's not being rude, it's not being a Karen, but it's just saying, hey, I actually ordered the fries and you gave me the onion rings. And you can just be real polite about it, but there's nothing wrong with speaking up for yourself. Every single time you do this, you are building that resistance to failure. And that is so huge in building your confidence. Even if the outcome isn't what you want, you're telling your brain that you are capable of doing hard things. And it gets a little bit easier. And eventually, it just becomes second nature. You'll begin to acknowledge the fear and then say, I'm going to do it anyway. This habit has changed the trajectory of countless lives. Basically, anybody you see who's famous, actors, singers, any celebrity that you admire has done these things through fear. And every single time they have overcome that hurdle, they're met with another block of fear that they've had to overcome. No one is ever handed their dream. They have to achieve it scary step by scary step. And each time you build a little more resilience that if you do have a setback, you're like, no problem. I'm just going to keep going. Sometimes it only takes 1 second of bravery. Your brain loves evidence. If you've ever heard of confirmation bias, so like when somebody tells you, hey, look for all of the red things, and you look around the room and you can see all the red things, maybe things that you never even noticed before. But if they say, okay, well, how many blue things were there? You're like, I didn't see any blue things, because you weren't looking for the blue things, because your brain loves to look for what it's being told. So when you start doing these 3 habits, you're building evidence almost like a case, like a lawyer would build. And you're telling yourself that you deserve the things that you want. You're the kind of person that commands a room when you walk in, or that attracts people because you just put off all these good vibes. You begin to naturally attract the things that are meant for you. Try even just one of these for like a week or so, and See what happens. I mean, what do you have to lose, right? Even if you don't notice anything right away, I promise this stuff is all sinking into your brain. It's taking it all in, it's soaking it up like a sponge. I promise you are laying the foundation for amazing results. And you're setting yourself up for future wins. If this glass is half empty, low vibe, anxious girl can do it, trust me, you can do it too.